Welcome to the Great British Crochet Off technical version, where I chat through the technical aspects of this week's episode of the Great British Crochet Off, a series where I watch that week's episode of the Great British Bake Off and try and crochet something that inspires me from it. This week they had Biscuit Week, and they had to make like slice and bake biscuits that had an inlaid design, so when you cut them it revealed the design. So I made my version. I was mostly inspired by Ian's black cat ones, and I kind of decided to go with the whole Halloween theme. So we have the pumpkin, we have the happy ghost, and of course we have Ian's black menace of a cat. They're also stored in this adorable little cookie tube, so let's go back in time and see how we got here. Also, they're magnetic, so they stick together. Welcome back to the Great British Crochet Off. I have my computer here as a reference guide because it is Biscuit Week and we have some technically things to work out. So the goal this week is to make like a kid's like cut and bake a biscuit set. Also, standard rules. I'm gonna try not to say the word cookie, but I probably will at some point, especially because what I'm basing these on are very traditional American cookies. So basically what it's going to be is I'm going to make the little like cookies, and I'm going to put a magnet in each one of them so they stick together, so you can use, my kids have all these like they have so many play food things, and they have play knives, and they can like slice them apart, and that will separate the magnet. So it's going to be like a crocheted panel, magnet, and probably like a piece of something to keep it, probably the crocheted carding that I used for the bag last week, and then the like decorative part on top, and then sew those pieces together, and that's each of the biscuits. And then also doing like a little tin, a little round thing to keep them in. So today it's nighttime. I've already been working on this for a couple of hours, but this is the first time I've had to sit down and talk about it. I already made my graphs, and if you are an American, what I'm doing is going to be very familiar to you. I felt like because it is the coming up to the Halloween season, I had to do the classic Pillsbury Halloween cookies. So I made these graphs. This is the, oh my gosh, this is the pumpkin one, this is the ghost one, and then I did Ian's cat biscuit as one of them instead of like the traditional black cat one, because I really wanted to involve one of their designs. And this is my pattern for the circle that I'm making. So I'm like combining these two and getting something like this. Obviously, we are very early into the actual making process. I tried to do like cross stitching on it with the pattern, but my biggest concern was how thick it was becoming. I had to double up my yarn to make the stitches really like stand out. So it was becoming quite thick, and because I'm gonna be like, I'm concerned with magnetism, I was like, this is probably not gonna fly. And as much as I don't like doing a tapestry crocheting or anything like that, it's not my favorite, I think this is the way to go. So I'm going to make 12 circles in this color because this is going to be the bottom color, so it looks like it's been browned on the pan. And then we're going to make 4, 4, 4 for a dozen biscuits because that seems like a good round amount. And then once I get all those things, I'll worry about the container hold them. I'm also waiting on, I meant to order magnets to do something magnet-y a few days ago, and I never did, and I wish I had, but I ordered the magnets, so I'm waiting for those to come. So I just need to make my pieces in the meantime. If anyone is truly wanting these graphs that I made for some reason, I could like post them on my website or as like a still or something, so let me know. Also, if you're unfamiliar with the Pillsbury cookie biscuits and you're telling me that this is too light of a color for a biscuity color, I agree with you. But if you cook those Pillsbury cookies to a traditional color, they will be inedible. They must be barely done. So I finished my first one last night, and considering how little joy tapestry crochet brings me, I'm pretty happy with this. I am probably going to have to shape these a little bit. They're kind of curling under just because this is a shape that I made up. But I have 11 more to do of the pattern ones, and then I get to do the simple joy that is the backside, which is not going to have a pattern on it. So I'm going to try and finish these ones first just because I think the second half will go so much faster then. So this is the current status of things. I have finished 4 ghosts. Yes, this is backwards. No, I don't know how this happened. I literally finished the entire thing before I looked down and I was like, wait, this is backwards, but we're going with it because I was here when I realized it was backwards. Anyway, I have finished 4 pumpkins. I'm quite pleased with how the pumpkins have turned out. And one of Ian's kitty cats. Again, I'm not a big fan of tapestry crochet, so the fact that these have turned out at all legible, because I don't have a passion for this particular kind of crocheting, I think is a miracle. So even though they look a little bit messy and true tapestry crochetists would probably frown on these, I am happy with them. So I need to finish 3 more kitty cats, and what I did was the only thing besides doing my the graph that I made was I did the split stitch to make like the pupils for the eyeballs, because I thought it'd be a cleaner way to do it. So I'm going to weave in these ends, and then I have this towel out because I am going to block these because I do want them to be quite a perfect circle. So I'm going to finish these other 3, weave in the ends, block these, and then I need to make the back sides of the biscuits, but that's going to be so much faster because there's no graphing to it. There's no tapestry crocheting, so those are going to be able to knock out in like an hour or 2, truly. Also, my magnets are coming today, so hopefully they're strong. I tried to buy the strongest ones that I could find, so hopefully they're strong enough to hold a couple of pieces of crochet together. If not, then I'll figure it out because I always do. Lots of exciting updates. So I finished crocheting and weaving in the ends of all of these. They're all woven in and as best as I could make them. Again, I don't love tapestry, guys. And now, also I got my magnets, and my magnets work. They hold multiple layers of things together. So now I'm about to build my first one. So I have a circle of the darker brown. These magnets are scary strong. They keep sliding all over the table towards things. This is just a regular, this is this same pattern, but without any colors in it. So I have this, and then I have a circle of this, so it has some rigidity. And then I have a circle of, this is quilt batting. Oh no, wait, magnet goes in here, and I'm gonna glue the magnet with hot glue to the plastic here so it doesn't move around. And then I'm gonna do this here. And then I'm gonna put this here, and then I'm gonna crochet in the dark, in this tan yarn that I have my thumb on all the way around. This way the edge of the darker color comes up a little bit, and it looks a little bit more cookie-like, because like when you make a cookie, the edges are a little bit darker than the middle, right? Glued all of the batteries onto their bases here, and I had to do them all at once, and I had to do them like this because it's so easy to forget how batteries work. Also, these things were snapping together on my fingers constantly. I have a blood blister building here, so if you go to recreate this, just battery safety, y'all. So I made 4 of these before I finally gave in to the thought that this is giving me bread week as opposed to biscuit week. So I made another one that was with the lighter color around the edge. And while it was better than this, it was still giving me like Uncrustable as opposed to a biscuit. So now I think what I'm going to end up doing is sewing these together as opposed to crocheting it, because the crocheting is what's giving it kind of a crust on the edge. So what I'm doing is folding the darker edge in ever so slightly and sewing the 2 pieces together. And I think it's definitely more biscuit as opposed to bread. It might be a little more time consuming perhaps, but in this world of the Great British Crochet Off, the finishing details are what I think make these projects special. And this is why it's also worth it to watch the Great British Crochet Off technical version, because you guys see, I don't just like magically make these things. Like there is sometimes a lot of trial and error. So time to do a lot of sewing. I have 2 more cookies to assemble, but I'm taking a little break from that because I just can't stare at those crocheted ovals any longer. And I'm going to work on the tube because of course we need to have like a tube for the cookies to go in, because I really want this to be a complete project. So I already have this Halloween fabric on hand. I made a dress for my younger daughter many years ago. It sadly no longer fits her, but it's so cute, and I thought it'd be a really good base for like a little cookie tube. So I have my favorite plastic carding here, and I am going to cut a piece slightly bigger than it because I'm gonna have one side that's gonna be like folded over and glued down so it's flat, and the other one is gonna be able to be tied up and like untie and tie. It'll make sense, like a little drawstring. And then I'm gonna put maybe some little felt decals and like letters on it saying that it's cookies. I don't know. I am emotionally moving on from this project in the tiniest bit, so I do kind of want to finish it. I'm very happy with it, but at a certain point, like, I've stared at Halloween things long enough. So in conclusion, I'm gonna cut a piece of fabric, I'm gonna glue it on one end, I'm gonna roll it up, we're gonna put some cute letters and felt decals and things on it, and then I'm gonna assemble the last 2 cookies and I will be done. I hemmed in my raw edges and I sewed up my little tube, and now I am gluing it just along the edges and just here at the seam, so I have all this space open for sewing into. So I'm just going to continue to roll and glue it along the edges, and then I'll have like a good place to do my decorative sewing. So I put my little cookies on here using the grid. It's not perfect, but I am happy with it considering I sewed this through fabric. And then I'm just adding, I made a little ghost out of felt, and then I made a little biscuit out of felt. And this is actually, I have this macaron fabric that I used to make my dog a bandana a few years ago, and I realized when I was looking for felt to make a pumpkin that the orange ones actually kind of had a pumpkin-y vibe. So that's just like a little pumpkin cookie cut out. So I'm gonna glue this stuff down, and then I'm gonna finish putting the other 2 biscuits together, and then I think we're gonna be done with this one, and I'll do kind of like a final reveal. And here's our final reveal. So this is the little tube that I made, and you can untie it at either side and get your little biscuits out, and they actually stay together in a little biscuit log, and the magnets work so well. You can kind of see them in action in this week's episode of the Great British Crochet Off, but loved this project. Always love Biscuit Week, and I'll see you guys for the next one.